Have you ever seen an animal defy all the laws of nature out of love? In the heart of the Serengeti, where the wind carries the dry scent of the savannah and lions roar as the sun sets, a baboon named Baba did something unthinkable. After a devastating fire, he discovered 3 tiny orphan lion cubs, fragile and defenseless. Any other animal would have run away immediately, but Baba stayed. And what he did next completely redefined what we understand about instinct and compassion. Can you believe that a baboon, with his rough hands and sharp eyes, could teach the world a profound lesson about family that goes beyond species? Picture the scene: an orange sky streaked with smoke, distant sounds of branches crackling beneath ash-covered ground. Baba wasn't a troop leader, just an ordinary baboon, but his heart seemed bigger than the entire savannah. When he stumbled upon those starving cubs, something inside him changed forever. He didn't see predators, he saw lives in need. Against every natural instinct and rule, he chose to protect them. Have you ever felt such a strong calling, something that defies logic itself? Did you know baboons have complex social structures, forming alliances and friendships lasting years? Now imagine one adopting lion cubs. Sometimes, helping someone different begins with a small act of empathy, like listening when someone needs it most. Have you ever done something seemingly crazy, yet deep down knew it made perfect sense? This extraordinary story of interspecies adoption will deeply touch your heart. The sun hung low in the Serengeti, painting the horizon red, while the acrid smell of smoke lingered in the air. Baba, with his scruffy fur and curious eyes, trotted through the savannah with his troop, the sound of their paws thumping the dry earth like a soft drum. The wildfire from last week had left its mark: charred trees, grass reduced to ash. But then, a faint sound, like a horse mew, sliced through the silence. He turned his head, heart racing. Ever heard something that made you freeze, like the universe was calling you? There, among the brittle bushes, he saw 3 lion cubs, so tiny they could barely open their eyes. Orphaned, frail, their fur streaked with soot. Any baboon would have run. Lions, even cubs, are pure danger. But Baba stayed. His eyes met theirs, and something clicked. It was as if fate whispered, "They need you." Did you know baboons have such a strong protective instinct that they sometimes adopt other species young, even at great risk? Baba stepped closer, the heat of the ground searing his paws, and sniffed the cubs. They trembled, hungry but alive. The troop behind him grunted in alarm, their sharp cries cutting the air. "Danger," they seemed to say. But Baba didn't listen. He scooped up the smallest cub with care, like holding a treasure, and cradled it against his chest. Sometimes, helping someone starts with ignoring fear and listening to your heart, like when you help a friend despite being overwhelmed. Ever made a choice everyone thought was nuts but felt right? Pause for a second, imagine the courage of that baboon, defying nature itself. Night fell over the Serengeti, and the air carried the damp chill of distant rain. Baba, with the 3 lion cubs nestled close to his furry body, felt the weight of the troop's stares. The nervous grunts of the other baboons echoed like a clumsy choir, and tension hung thicker than the savannah's dust. Ever felt that chill down your spine when everyone judges your choice? Baba was right in the thick of it. The troop saw the cubs not as helpless young but as future predators. And who could blame them? Lions and baboons aren't exactly best buddies in the wild. But Baba didn't budge. He grunted back, his hoarse sound rising from his chest like a challenge. Did you know baboons use specific vocalizations to settle conflicts within the troop, almost like a noisy council meeting? Baba seemed to say, "They're staying with me." He dragged the cubs to a sheltered spot under an acacia's shade, the sweet scent of the tree's resin mingling with the smell of wet earth. The troop kept their distance, some baring teeth, others turning away. But Baba only saw those big, scared eyes of the cubs, begging for a home. When no one backs your decision, trust your gut, like when you stand up for something you believe in, even if everyone disagrees. Ever been there? He started improvising. He gathered fallen fruit, mashed it with his rough hands, and tried feeding the cubs. They licked clumsily, their muzzles smeared with pulp. It was heartbreaking but also a bit funny. Picture a baboon playing nanny to lions. pause and picture it, a stubborn baboon, against all odds, caring for cubs who didn't even know what they were. Dawn in the Serengeti brought a golden glow, and the sharp song of birds sliced through the silence like an improvised melody. Baba, exhausted but with eyes shining with resolve, watched over the 3 lion cubs huddled in a rocky nook. The scent of dew dampened the air, refreshing his matted fur. He knew those cubs, whom he'd fondly named Spirit, Whisper, and Roar, needed more than protection. They needed food, a home. But how does a baboon feed lions? Ever faced a problem that felt way too big for you? Baba had no milk, no meat, but he had cunning. He started collecting insects, crisp beetles, fat grubs, from under tree bark and rocks. He chewed them up and offered them to the cubs, who, with wrinkled muzzles, accepted the makeshift meal. It was clumsy, almost comical, watching those lion cubs try to swallow something so far from what nature intended. Did you know baboons are omnivores with such a varied diet they'll even eat small vertebrates? That's what gave Baba the idea to improvise. He also built a shelter, using dry branches and broad leaves to shield them from the savannah's biting wind. When life throws you a challenge, use what's at hand, like when you cobble together a solution with whatever's in your house. Ever tried that? The cubs, still wobbly, followed Baba like shadows. He guided them with soft grunts, almost like a patient dad. Take a deep breath and imagine, a baboon, against all odds, building a home for cubs that weren't his. The midday sun scorched the Serengeti, and the hum of insects dancing in the heat felt like the savannah's soundtrack. Baba, with his awkward gait, led Spirit, Whisper, and Roar through the trees, the warm smell of dry bark filling the air. The lion cubs, now a bit stronger, stumbled after him, their clumsy paws kicking up pebbles. Ever seen someone learn something totally out of their league, like a fish trying to climb a tree? Well, Baba was trying to turn lions into almost baboons, and it was as incredible as it sounds. He taught them to climb low branches, grunting patiently as Whisper slipped and fell with a comical whimper. Baba also showed them how to make alarm calls, those shrill sounds baboons use to warn the troop of danger. Roar, the boldest, tried to mimic him, but out came a clumsy growl that made Baba shake his head, like, "All right, you tried." Did you know young lions are so adaptable they can learn behaviors outside their species if raised in a different environment? That made Baba's cubs a true exception in nature. Sometimes, teaching someone starts with patience in small steps, like helping a kid tie their shoes. Ever had to teach someone like that? The cubs began mimicking Baba, climbing, calling, even hiding among rocks when he signaled danger. It was heartwarming but also funny, 3 lion cubs trying to be baboons. Close your eyes for a moment, picture those cubs, with their bright eyes, following a baboon like he was the greatest hero in the world. Twilight in the Serengeti painted the sky purple, and the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze seemed to whisper ancient secrets. Baba, with Spirit, Whisper, and Roar by his side, rested on a rocky plateau, the warmth of the stones still heating his back. The cubs, now more confident, played, tumbling over each other, their retractable claws scratching the ground with a faint, almost musical sound. Ever seen a group slowly start to accept something they once rejected? The baboon troop was beginning to change, and it was something no one could have predicted. At first, the troop kept their distance, grunting with suspicion. But little by little, something shifted. Maybe it was Baba's persistence or the cubs' big, clumsy eyes, but some baboons started to approach. One day, when a jackal prowled near, its sharp bark cutting the air, something amazing happened. Instead of fleeing, the troop formed a semicircle, shouting and baring their teeth to scare off the predator. Even Spirit, the smallest cub, tried to growl. Did you know baboons can form temporary alliances to protect their group, even against much larger enemies? That instinct of unity was starting to embrace the lion cubs. Sometimes, earning a group's trust takes time and example, like when you show through actions, not words, that something's worthwhile. Ever seen that happen? The bond between species grew stronger, and the connection between Baba and the cubs felt like a savannah miracle. They slept together, the cubs nestled against Baba's rough fur, like an unlikely family. Pause for a moment and feel it, a baboon and 3 lion cubs, against all odds, forming a team. The full moon hung over the Serengeti, bathing the savannah in a silvery glow, while the distant croak of frogs sounded like a nighttime choir. Baba watched Spirit, Whisper, and Roar, now much bigger, with steadier paws and eyes glinting with something new, a wild spark. The smell of damp earth rose from the ground after a quick rain, and Baba, his fur bristling, felt unease growing in his chest. Ever noticed a moment when someone you love starts to change, heading down a path you can't control? Baba was starting to feel it. The cubs, once clumsy, now chased small rodents with chilling precision. Roar, the boldest, made short leaps, his claws gleaming in the moonlight as he practiced ambushes. Baba grunted, trying to call them back, but their eyes no longer obeyed as before. It was as if nature was whispering, "They're lions, not yours." Did you know lion cubs start showing hunting instincts around 6 months, even without adults to teach them? That instinct was awakening in Spirit, Whisper, and Roar, and Baba saw danger looming. Sometimes, loving means knowing when to hold on and when to let go, like giving a friend space to grow, even if it hurts. Ever felt that ache in your heart? The troop hesitated again. Nervous grunts returned, and Baba felt the weight of wary glances. He still protected them, but a question haunted him: how long could he keep them safe? Close your eyes for a second, picture a baboon, heart-torn, watching his children become predators. The midday heat weighed heavy in the Serengeti, and the buzz of flies hung like an invisible veil over the savannah. Baba, with his steady stride, led the troop through tall grass, the dry smell of herbs mixing with the sweat in his fur. Spirit, Whisper, and Roar, now adolescents, moved with feline grace, their keen eyes scanning the horizon. Ever seen someone you raised suddenly show a strength that surprises you? Baba was about to learn his lion cubs were no longer just clumsy shadows. Suddenly, a sharp hiss cut the air. A black mamba, its deadly greenish sheen glinting, slithered between rocks, heading straight for a young baboon in the troop. The troop froze, their panicked grunts echoing. But in a flash, Roar leaped. His claws flashed, and with a precise strike, he killed the snake, the sound of the impact muffled by the grass. Spirit and Whisper joined in, growling low, ensuring the danger was gone. Did you know young lions can hunt small prey but rarely take on venomous snakes like the black mamba, one of Africa's deadliest? This was the cubs' first real hunt, and they chose to protect the troop. Sometimes, those you help surprise you with gratitude, like when a friend returns a favor in an unexpected way. Ever experienced that? The troop, once wary, now looked at the cubs with newfound respect. Even the grumpiest baboons approached, touching them with shy gestures. Pause for a moment and feel it: 3 lions, raised by a baboon, saving those who once feared them. The sunset in the Serengeti painted the sky orange, and the sound of hyenas laughing echoed as a reminder of the savannah's wildness. Baba, his fur dusty and eyes weary, walked slowly, the 3 lion cubs, Spirit, Whisper, and Roar, following close behind. They were bigger now, their muscles defined under golden fur, and the smell of crushed grass under their heavy paws filled the air. Ever felt the weight of a choice you knew was right but hurt like a stab? Baba knew the cubs, now young lions, no longer belonged with the troop. Their deep growls, their play that sometimes hurt, all of it scared the baboons. Baba saw the predatory glint in Roar's eyes, the way Whisper sniffed the air, chasing shadows. He began leading them away, toward a valley where a small pride of young lions, without leaders, roamed. Did you know teenage lions often join groups of youngsters before forming their own prides, learning to hunt and survive together? Baba seemed to understand this, as if nature whispered what to do. Letting someone follow their path is an act of love, like encouraging a child or friend to chase their dreams, even if it means distance. Ever done that? Each night, Baba took them farther, his soft grunts blending with the wind. The cubs, confused, tried to turn back, but he persisted, heart heavy. Close your eyes for a second, imagine a baboon, torn between love and the need to let go, guiding his children to a future without him. Dawn in the Serengeti was a quiet spectacle, the sky opening in shades of pink and the hoarse song of a lone bird echoing through the hills. Baba, weighed down by days without rest, led Spirit, Whisper, and Roar to the edge of a valley. The air carried the scent of trampled herbs, and the young lions, nearly adults, walked with a confidence blending grace and strength. Ever had to say goodbye to someone who changed your life, knowing it was best for them? In the valley, a pride of young lions, leaderless, roamed. Baba stopped, his eyes fixed on the cubs he'd raised. He grunted softly, a sound more tender than commanding, and nudged them gently with his muzzle. Roar hesitated, looking at Baba as if begging to stay, but Spirit, ever curious, stepped forward, sniffing the strangers. The pride greeted them cautiously, low growls exchanged like a tense negotiation. Slowly, the young lions approached, and Baba watched, hidden among the rocks, as his cubs began to blend in. Did you know young lions are accepted into new groups based on signs of strength and social behavior, like those Baba unknowingly taught them? The greatest act of love is trusting those you love will find their way. Ever felt that mix of pride and emptiness? Baba stayed there, heart heavy, until the sun rose high. He gave one last look, like locking a memory forever, and turned back to the troop. Pause for a moment and feel it, a baboon, alone, leaving behind the cubs who changed his life. The sun set in the Serengeti, bathing the savannah in a golden glow that seemed to embrace every rock, every blade of grass. The wind carried the distant sound of a roar, perhaps from Spirit, Whisper, or Roar, now part of their new pride. Baba, back with his troop, sat on a rock, the smell of dry earth still clinging to his fur. His eyes, so wise and weary, seemed to hold a story the savannah would never forget. Ever felt a moment, however small, change who you are forever? Baba's journey, this baboon who defied nature by adopting 3 orphan lion cubs, is more than a story of wild animals. It's a lesson about what family means. The bond between Baba and his lions showed that love and empathy can break the most unlikely barriers. He didn't see predators, he saw lives that needed him. And by protecting, teaching, and finally letting them go, Baba reminds us that family isn't just blood, it's choice, sacrifice, courage. Did you know stories of cross-species bonds like this inspire studies on animal behavior, showing empathy can exist even in the wildest nature? Carry a bit of Baba with you, choose to see the best in people, even when they seem different, and build bridges where others see walls. Ever found an unlikely family in your life? Pause for a moment and reflect. What Baba teaches us is that love transcends instincts, species, even fear itself. If this story warmed your heart, the next video YouTube suggests will move you even more. Don't miss it. And hey, ever had an animal or someone change your life like this? Share it with us in the comments. Your story might inspire others. Like, subscribe, and join this journey of stories that touch the soul.